That's a very different gun. That could be anybody. That could be anybody. It looks like I wasn't here. I was in the UK. Stop. But yeah, backpack belonging to CEO shooting suspect is found.
In the shooting death of the head of one of the nation's largest health insurers. ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with the latest. Morgan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Whit. Yes, police say the suspect behind that brazen ambush of CEO Brian Thompson earlier this week likely took a bus out of the city, but he left behind a critical piece of evidence, his backpack. And as investigators comb through it for clues, the FBI is joining what's now a nationwide search and offering a $50,000 reward. This morning, the frantic search for the killer behind the assassination-style murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson now turning into a nationwide manhunt. According to sources, investigators believe the suspect escaped New York City, last seen at 6:59 a.m. on Wednesday, riding a bike out of Central Park after the shooting. Police say the suspect hopped into a taxi, headed to a bus station, and made his getaway. Friday, NYPD officers combing Central Park
I think there's something... I mean, I can't help but love this story because it's literally everything that I've talked about, like, for years, all of it coming together. You have the understandable resentment and anger that massive swaths of the American population feel towards healthcare and towards executives in general that are involved in healthcare. Like, the resentment that they feel is palpable. That's number one. So the reception of this story has been genuinely different than the way that the media is covering it. That's number one. Number two, police incompetence. Something that I talk about all the time is police incompetence. The very fact that this multiple billion-dollar, one of the largest standing militaries on the planet force, the NYPD, is so woefully incompetent. And it's not necessarily a bad thing in this circumstance, but it is a bad thing when there are real crimes happening and they're tasked with solving them and they fail to solve them. But like, it is so publicly in display that one of the most effective, supposedly, one of the largest, most effective police departments on the planet that have a submarine, okay? Drones, submarines, an office in Tel Aviv, like, these guys are so woefully incompetent when they're tasked with finding one singular criminal, okay, supposedly criminal, it's a loaded word, that walked up in broad daylight and domed a healthcare CEO and calmly walked away, got on a bike and went into Central Park to lower his 5-star rating down to 0 stars instantly. Central Park is the real life version of spray and pay. You go in with 5 stars in the Central Park, you come out 0 stars. Okay? Straight up. It's crazy. Well, I've already talked about a bunch of different things revolving this story, the reception, and how diametrically opposed the mainstream reception or the mainstream coverage of this is in comparison to like what the average moms and dads in the Midwest, like how they feel about it. And it's very interesting. It took him 3 days to find the backpack that he dropped. Okay. And for the record, the backpack is like a classic. I feel like the backpack that he used was like a classic everyday carry backpack too. What is the design? It's like a very famous backpack. No, I forget what it's called. Oh yeah, Peak Design. Yeah, it's a everyday backpack from Peak Design. And from what I understand, this is like something that people really love this backpack. Okay, by his look, the backpack is. Oh my God, the combination in size color is unavailable. Wait, the 30-liter gray is unavailable. It's sold out. It's sold out. The 30-liter everyday backpack from Peak Design is sold out. Wow, that's guerrilla marketing right there, folks. So, that's really interesting. So, basically, it's reselling on eBay for $4,000. The jacket is also getting sold out online. Some places also hiking up the prices like 10x. That's insane that people watch that and we're like, oh, dude, I love how breathable his windbreaker is. I personally loved the way that he could move in that, the way that he could move in his windbreaker, and how many things he could put in his everyday carry backpack. It's like pretty solid by his look. Yeah, the range of motion. But okay, going back to the earlier point that I was making, though, is that like it is pretty funny to see how much the NYPD has dropped the ball on this. It's also kind of interesting how hard they are trying to find him. Like, there is never this level of involvement for any random person getting murdered in broad daylight. If it was a random person getting murdered in broad daylight, nobody would give a shit. It would not be this big of a deal. So I guess when it's like someone in an actual position of power, when they get popped, it's like, whoa, all hands on deck. This is red alert, red alert. We have to do everything we can. This is the one time where we have to work, and they still cannot meet. They still cannot meet the standard necessary. The only law that matters is don't make cops look stupid in public. Yeah. Keeps you cool under pressure. The backpack. I think it's more about the media attention. No, it's not just because of the media attention. The media attention is also interesting, but it's because of the circumstances in which this act unfolded. It's obviously the motive of it was obvious. It's a person that was like seemingly had gripes with the way that healthcare works in this country. It's a perfect story for many different reasons, but I think no matter what, like when a wealthy person is assassinated, yes, cops are going to take that very seriously, as opposed to like a random person getting killed. It is also kind of wild that it took him, like I said, 3 days to find the backpack that he just dropped.
Grid search by drone and on foot, eventually leading them to the suspect's backpack. Now, detectives sifting through it for clues.
That image, that picture of him, and that's going to be blasted all over the country, and the phone calls are going to be coming in. Someone knows this guy from somewhere.
Police say they believe they now have a clearer timeline of the suspect's steps before the murder, telling ABC News they think the suspect arrived in New York City November 24th, 10 days before the shooting, on a Greyhound bus, boarding somewhere between Atlanta and Washington, D.C. Investigators using facial recognition technology on the only clear images of who they believe to be the suspect, captured during a flirtatious exchange with the hostel clerk who asked him to smile to check his ID.
This is straightforwardly a perfect story. Like, even the very fact that he was like rizzing up the fucking reception person. Now, I don't even know if this person is the real person. This is just what the NYPD is claiming is the real person. We don't even know. And I'm not even like joking when I say that, because I know I've been joking quite a bit about the story where I'm like, oh, that's not him. It could be anybody, you know? And before people say completely different jacket, nobody owns one jacket, chat. Calm down.
Which sources say was fake. Authorities also turning to DNA pulled from items left near the murder scene, including a cell.
Whoa, hey, calm down. That's a very different gun. That's a very different gun. That's not, that could be anybody. That could be anybody. It looks like I wasn't here. I was in the UK. Stop. I was in the UK when this happened. Totally different gun also. No suppressor. 50K easy.
Cell phone and a smudge fingerprint from a water bottle they say the suspect bought at a Starbucks minutes before the shooting. This video showing the suspect tossing an item in the garbage.
He was methodical and disciplined. I will give this individual that. But everybody makes mistakes, and you got to find those mistakes.
As the search intensifies, police working to determine a motive. Police believe the gunman is a disgruntled ex-employee of UnitedHealthcare or an angry client.
Today, value-based care is the centerpiece of our growth strategy. And
now other corporations.
I think one of the craziest parts about this is that like this dude is still like small fry. He's not even the top dog. Like the UnitedHealthcare structure, like there's a UnitedHealthcare group. Okay. This guy is the CEO of one of the many different tentacles under the UnitedHealthcare group. So like he's a low level CEO. He's still fucking not a good guy, okay? His actions are not great, right? His actions were not great. It is interesting to think that like there are still, less accessible people that are out there. I heard that some pharmacy techs were saying yesterday no claims were being denied, where it usually is like 30 to 40% getting instantly denied. Yeah, it's a really interesting situation, isn't it? I mean, we saw Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem reverse their decision like overnight to no longer offer coverage to anesthesia over a certain period of time. Like if you go under with anesthesia for if you go over a predetermined time frame, if you're taking anesthesia for a longer than a predetermined time frame, like they will not cover it anymore. They said that they weren't going to do that. And then they very quickly reversed that decision. I wonder what happened. And then Kathy Hochul was like basically taking credit for it.
And insurance companies on high alert, reassessing security for their senior executives. And investigators are looking into the possibility that the gunman used what's known as a veterinary gun, typically used on farms and ranches. But now that the suspect may have skipped town, they're really leaning on the public for help. You know, those photos that we've shown are the clearest ones yet, and they are hoping someone out there can recognize him with.
And Morgan, other companies are now taking notice and taking...
He was the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, which is the insurance division that makes up 3/4 of the UHG's revenue.
...action when it comes to security now.
Yeah, this has really shaken up corporate America. We have several companies, insurance companies alike, scrubbing bios of their top executives from their website. Just this morning, we're learning that Centene, it's another major insurer, announced that it's not going to do its in-person investors meeting here in New York City. Instead, they're going to move it virtually. All of this to protect their employees and executives. So again, we've got heightened alert, not just in corporate America, but among these insurance companies.
This ripple effect across the country. Morgan, thank you.
Yeah, a time frame that doctors don't determine either. The insurance would determine it. But that's just how it is in America. That's my point. That's what's so frustrating about it. That is what's so frustrating about this process. And not only that, but also they used AI. UnitedHealthcare started using AI to deny claims. And it skyrocketed the number of denials that they were engaging in. And for the record, even the Deny, Depose, Defend book that everyone is pointing to, like that book itself is not exactly a great book either. Like that's a pro healthcare insurance book, but it's so bad. Healthcare in this country is so bad that they even got capitalists who are pro healthcare insurance that are criticizing it. Okay. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.